It's been 2 months since your hometown, Eidos, was ripped from its own reality and placed in a new world. The Eidosians are calling it Horizon. Untamed and uncharted, it presents both risk and opportunity for all. Rangers, mages, and warriors all eagerly answer the call. Not all who have gone in search of fame and fortune have returned. There are many dangers lurking in the dark. Horrors from other dimensions summoned to Horizon as you were. Still, there is hope. There are friendly faces in Eidos, always willing to aid you in your journeys. And in the back of your mind burns the unanswerable question: who brought Eidos to this strange place called Horizon, and why?
Hall number 4. We're excited to have you with us. To answer Gatrino's question in the chat, is that music DCX original? The answer is yes. I think Bloater Punch has called out in the Discord chat a couple of times the author there. So be sure to, the musician who put that together for us. So be sure to check that out. Again, thrilled to have you back with us. This week's town hall, we're back to our regular scheduled programming. We're going to have a full hour. We've got the core team back, and we're on to share some exciting information and answer a lot of your questions that have accumulated over the last few weeks here. One additional note, thank you for the feedback. I decided to put my headset on, so hopefully this is a little clearer. If I'm not sounding clear, let me know. But appreciate the feedback. Okay, so we want to engage you guys in the audience. So we'll be posting our live streams exclusively to YouTube now, from now on, where you'll be able to engage with us in the chat. That also gives us the ability to do some giveaways through the platform occasionally. So anyone who comments hashtag DCX in the chat on YouTube today will be eligible to win one of 2 whitelist spots for a Genesis hero. So let's start seeing that chat going, hashtag DCX. And you will automatically be entered into the drawing here. Next, I just want to ask you guys to like, retweet, and follow on Twitter. And likewise, like or subscribe if you're on YouTube. Again, if you're not in the Discord, please join. That's where you'll want to go if you want to keep up to everything on Dragon's Crossing. And as a reminder, our website is out there as well, www.dragonscrossing.com, or skip the W's. We fixed it. But you can see a lot of exciting content on our website. Feel free to share that with other folks as well. All right. Before we introduce the team, I also want to remind you of the 3 active campaigns that we've got going on right now. So the first one that is closing very shortly here, you've got about a day left, is to achieve at least level 8 in Discord. You can do that by interacting, by chatting, interacting with folks in the Discord. So the drawing's going to take place on the 31st. So also, this is the current leaderboard. So, you've got Libra at the top, Maba 078 in second place, Maharaj third, Gatrino, we're going to kick him out of there, I think. But we got some others on this list here. So if you're close to that level 8, make sure to get there. The second contest we've got right now is an invite and win contest. So this is ongoing here. We'll announce kind of the end date here prior to the mint. But invite players to our Discord, and you've probably seen that server invites channel where you can keep track of how many invites you've got and how many tickets you've accumulated to that point. So go ahead and invite people to our Discord. Third one, this one's happening on April 3rd here. So finally, we're only a few days away. We're going to have a Dragon's Crossing trivia contest here. So be sure to tune in at 10 a.m. Eastern on April 3rd, where we will have a trivia game after a series of 20 questions. First to get a correct answer, the first 3 to get a correct answer are counted. We'll tally up the points. We'll give away some spots here. So with that, all right, I'm going to take a breath here, and I'm going to introduce our team today, which is the founders. We've done a few introductions here, so I'll spare you the details, but we've got Bloater Punch, Sandwich Punch, and Baby Punch. Welcome to the stream, guys.
Excited to be here.
Thanks, man. Man, you're crushing it.
Excited to be here.
You
I appreciate it. It's the headset and the Bison. I think that's what I've been hearing. So
Headset is very good. It's well added.
good. Awesome. Okay. Well, we got the punches on the stream here. So there's a lot of questions that have been coming around from the community. So I'm going to dive right into the first one. Let me ask you this, Baby Punch. Big question that people have. How is the whitelist mint going to be handled? Exactly, whitelist. We all saw it coming. There have been some concerns about oversubscription and what that means. Tell me, give me some details. Give me some alpha here on the whitelist.
So, first of all, the mint's going to be relatively small. When it comes to NFT mints, like our project is not minting a ton of Genesis Heroes. So it's going to be small. The whitelist is going to be small. But we're going to make sure everyone who got a whitelist is covered. They're going to have a chance to mint. So I'll break it down, and what we'll do is I'll ping the Brown Gent. He'll put together some infograph to kind of just easily show how this will go. I'm not going to give specifics as far as pricing, but I will let you guys know how that structure is going to be done on the mint. So what we're going to do is the whitelist. So we're going to have 600 whitelist spots, and there's going to be 300 Genesis Heroes that are going to go on a discounted mint. So discounted from the list price, and there's going to be 300 of those spots. We're going to give all whitelist members a 24-hour window to mint those 300, and then any whitelist member who did not get a mint a hero will, before the public mint, there will be a short window. We haven't necessarily drilled down what that window is going to look like, but it'll be a short window right before the public mint, where they will be able to get on mint during the public. They'll get essentially access to the public mint just a little bit early, so that they can get in there, get a hero, and making sure that those who have earned a whitelist at least have the opportunity to get in there and mint. So, and then it will roll right into the public mint. So,
and just to clarify on that, with that, so you've got a whitelist, you've got a percentage discount. My understanding is it's going to be fairly meaningful, and we'll let you guys know once we have that pricing. So then for those who haven't, who out of those 600, if those 300 spots go in just like that, they'll have the opportunity right before the public mint to mint. Now, is that at a discount, or is that?
No, that'll just be at the public mint price. Okay. So anyone who did not get a mint at a discount, which there's only going to be 300 of them, so it's going to be incentivized. You're going to want to try to get that, but if you don't get it, we're still going to at least allow you to get into the public mint a little bit early before the public to at least secure a mint, and then it'll roll right into the public mint. So you'll be able to secure, if you want to mint a Genesis Heroes, you'll at least be able to secure it if you have a whitelist.
Okay, awesome. So you'll get an opportunity to mint. Let me ask a broader question here, and you can take this one, Baby Punch, or if someone else wants to take it. What was sort of the thought process behind that? Because I know there's been some folks who say, hey, look, you got 300 whitelist spots. Why don't you 300 whitelist heroes that'll be available at the whitelist? Why not just give 300 spots? Why oversubscribe the whitelist?
Yes, we talked about this, and there's obviously some optics when it comes to a whitelist mint. It's just like an airline. Airlines oversubscribe their seats, they oversell their tickets to guarantee that the plane is full. Mm-hmm. And so what we do is we oversubscribe the whitelist. We don't want to have anyone feel like they've earned a whitelist and still did not get an opportunity to mint. So that's why we've structured it the way we did, but we've oversubscribed it strictly for optics. So if it mints out quickly and there's a lot of excitement around a mint, that looks good for the project. And so you definitely, as a project, you have to not just manage the whitelist, or the mint, you've also got to manage the optics of the mint. So that was kind of the strategy behind the oversubscription, was we want to make sure that the community knows this is a hype project and it's, exciting. There's some movement behind it, and we want to, keep everyone excited to mint. And so that's kind of the reasoning.
Fantastic. Okay, so and it sounds like you guys have really put a lot of thought into what that structure looks like, and still keeping it fair while incentivizing people to mint on the whitelist. Got a question here from Arnout86. Will it be possible during public mint to mint multiple Genesis heroes in one transaction? Bloater?
Probably. I don't know for sure yet, but my guess is we'll probably do something like between 3 or maybe a max of 5. But I don't know. We'd have to decide that. Not decided yet, but definitely a possibility. We haven't made up our mind on that.
Gotcha.
Can I just restate? Let me just restate this really quickly. So to summarize everything we've said, if you have a whitelist spot, you have a shot at getting a discount. There's 300 discounted reservations for whitelist people. There will be more whitelists than discounts. However, if you want to mint with your whitelist before the public mint, even if you don't get into the 300 slots, you still get a guaranteed mint if you want it.
If you show up, right?
If you show up, you may not get a discount, but you will get a guaranteed mint. So at least you're not jockeying for position if that's your concern. You will have the opportunity to mint before the public.
Fantastic. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, and I think that answers the question here from Hype TV. Is that what he said? Yes. You'll have the opportunity. So, okay. Fantastic. Again, I to reiterate what we just said here, we want to make sure that people have the opportunity to mint, and that they feel like that whitelist is meaningful. Which, again, frankly, stay tuned, but you'll see that's meaningful.
And just for clarification, that question regarding multiple mints does not apply to the whitelist portion. That only applies to the public mint. So no one on the whitelist will be able to mint more than one per wallet. But once the public mint opens, we may allow wallets to mint more than one Genesis hero per transaction. That's still TBD.
Got it. So the whitelist can't necessarily gobble up everything just in that whitelist phase.
That's right.
Awesome. Let me ask one additional clarifying question. The website shows that we've got a regular mint and a boosted mint. Will the folks on the whitelist be able to do either, or is it only one? Bloater Punch?
I feel like we discussed this. I don't remember where we landed.
Yeah. So I can respond to this. So, yes, whitelisters will be able to do either, and both options will be discounted for that first 300, and then obviously for the next 300, where it's you're guaranteed to at least have a chance to mint. It'll be the normal price, but you can choose regular or boosted mint.
Awesome. Okay, thanks for that clarification. Okay, anything else to add on mint? If not, I'm going to move on to the next topic here. Which there's a question that we've got here. I don't know who this was from, but a question about playability here. And here's the question, Sandwich Punch, I'll give this one to you here. Playability is important, but what other feature helps this project stand out from the crowd?
Yeah, so I think a couple things here. The first thing is, it's not the fact that it's just playable, because playable can mean a lot of things. Playable can mean signing a transaction and that's it. Like, you sign and you roll, like, you just see what you get back from, whatever it is, the action is you're doing. Or playable could mean I own NFTs and I just am getting things every day because I own the NFT. But what we really have is gameplay that is strategic. You have to make decisions. You have to weigh. There's tension, right? There's tension between risk and reward. How conservative do I want to be? How risky do I want to be? But maybe there's more rewards for being more risky. So I think that's one really thing we've really been trying to emphasize. Another thing is the fact that there's a game available at launch, right? We're not minting with gameplay coming 6, 12, 18 months later. I mean, I'm not talking about any specific project. We've all been in projects where you minted the NFT, and that was essentially the fundraise to develop the project. And we've all been, minted projects in 2020, 2021, and we're still waiting for gameplay. So that's a huge differentiator. Sustainable tokenomics. We're going to get a lot more into this when we release the white paper. Face docs team, a game loop that requires strategy, critical decision making. I think all of these things together are going to help not just create a playable game, but address a lot of the pain points that a lot of us have seen in current Web3 games.
Got it. Okay. So, I mean, again, it sounds like the theme that we keep reiterating here, that, you know, it truly is a game, right? And there's depth to it. There are things to engage with, right? From more than just, hey, I'm clicking the button here and I'm attacking and that's it, right? Maybe Bloater Punch, could you elaborate a little bit? Like, you know, when we talk about the gameplay, I've seen a lot of questions come up of, hey, look, I've seen the gameplay demo that we had during the first town hall where basically you clicked attack a few times, you used a skill. How else can you describe for me? Like, I'm going through I'm playing the game, right? There's that combat encounter, but what else can you tell me about, like, what else is there to the game?
Okay, so if you're playing the game, you're managing a couple things. One, you're managing your quests, which are a resource. You're trying to decide how often you should heal, how often you should buy items with your quests. So one portion of the gameplay is managing that resource relative to the general populace. Another decision tree is like, how do you itemize? How do you which items do you use? How do you manage your items? That's a big one. You might have items with competing stats. Maybe one has a lot of agility, but one has a lot of wisdom. Which one do you use and why? So there's some itemization as well. And then as you're questing, you don't just always find combat. So combat's a big part of the game. But on top of combat, there are lore encounters where you discover more about the lore of the game. You can discover additional locations to quest. You can find daily quests. You can find boss quests, which have like unique loot per class. So all of that are possibilities as you're adventuring in the world.
Got it. So again, I mean, it sounds like this is really an RPG, right? You're combating monsters, you're exploring the world, you're getting story, right, with the game, all while getting really a cohesive experience where you've got, you know, unique art, you've got voice acting, you've got original soundtracks, etc.
That's right.
Awesome. Okay. Let me ask this. Is there going to be an opportunity in the future before launch to see some of that additional gameplay?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, my primary focus kind of feels like I have a lot of primary focuses, but one of the primary focuses is just balance testing. So we're just doing a ton of balance testing, trying to figure out the right way to curve difficulty, to curve, you know, all those fun little nuanced game mechanics. So yeah, that's my biggest priority. And so yeah, I think we will definitely see additional gameplay. It's all there. It's just a question of, can we make it appropriately difficult? Can we make it fun? Can we add, you know, elements of mystery and discoverability? All those things are kind of what we're deciding right now.
Got it. Awesome. I got a question here from Zelf Ernide. Maybe we can hit this before we move on. What's the flee from battle penalty, if any?
So to clarify, you have 4 actions that you can take at any time in combat potentially. One of them is attack, which is kind of the core mechanic. One of them is use a skill, and skills are rare, and you have very limited pool of skills, and they're very powerful. One is flee, and one is persuade. So I think we understand attack and we understand skill. The question was around flee. So fleeing is based on your quickness attribute. And this reminds me to notify everyone that we will have game mechanic docs. They won't be a Wikipedia on the game, but they will give you high level information about the game. You know, they'll give you high level information about what are the attributes, what are the combat statistics, what do they do. So in that game not a game Wikipedia, but in that game, those game docs, you would find an entry on like flee and what flee does. But essentially it's based on your quickness score, and it's you trying to run away and the monster rolling to see if he can catch you, kind of thing.
Got it.
And then I do love to flee from battle. Fleeing is important. I dropped some really big alpha a couple a couple town halls ago about not dying. That's a really important mechanic. So fleeing enables you sometimes to not die. Now, by the way, if you've built your hero in a way where you haven't prioritized quickness, fleeing would be pretty difficult.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay, so there's lots of stats that affect it. There's a lot more strategy involved in the gameplay. Actually, I'd love to dive in, if we could, for a second about use of skills, because I think we've hit this, but I think there might be some folks might appreciate understanding this a little bit better. So I find a skill, right? I find a skill in the game, and I identify that skill book, right, which is an NFT, and then I equip it. Right now, it's equipped to my hero. The NFT's gone, and now my hero has the skill, Fireball.
You learn it, yeah. The
You
right
learn
word
it,
would
okay.
probably be you learn the skill. Yep.
You learn it. So now it's on your hero. You can't unlearn it. It's part
You
of your
can
hero.
unlearn it because so again, this is good. We're getting into like the nuances of skills. So let me just start from the beginning. Number one, you kill a monster and find a skill book. Once you camp, that skill book becomes an NFT. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you've camped and it's an NFT, you can decide to identify it. When you identify it, you figure out what class it's for. Hopefully it's your class, and which of the skills from your class it is. And then once it's identified, you can decide to consume the NFT, burn it, and learn it permanently on your hero. And when you do that, it goes away. The NFT's gone, and now your hero knows that skill permanently. However, there are more skills in the game than there are skill slots. So to your point, can you get rid of a skill? Yes, because you might have a bank of 6 skills and you find this other skill that's amazing. And you're like, you know what? I'd like to learn that new one and burn one of my existing ones, delete it forever. So
it's gone forever if I unlearn it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, interesting. And you can see on here, this is from our website here. And if you click on any of these skills, you'll get some additional details that will pop up. Again, shout out to our web designer, Kyle, for this fantastic website. But so again, you'll have a limited number of skills. Now let me ask this, right? So I've got, let's just say 6 skills that I have learned on my hero, and I've traded away the ones that I didn't want or couldn't use on my hero. How many times, like if I've got that adhesive application, right? How many times in a day can I use adhesive application?
So this is how it works. You have a pool of skill points, which you allocate into skills. More powerful skills require more skill points. So if you're like, well, I'm going to use a much weaker skill, you will be able to use it more times during the day. If you're like, no, I want to use a really powerful skill. Okay, well, you can allocate points into that. You'll just get less uses out of it. And of course, you can pick and choose. It's a skill buffet. So if you're like, I'm going to put 1 here, 2 on that one, 1 on that one, that's totally up to you. It just depends on how you measure the value of the skill relative to how many skill points it requires.
Awesome. Okay. So you're going to have to manage which skills you equip. You're going to have to manage when you use those skills in a given day. And I may have 4 shots at it in a given day, or 1 shot, depending on the skill, how many skill points I have. Is that accurate?
All of that is accurate.
Okay. Last question on skills. If I have adhesive application here, for example, or I identify a skill book and identify that that's what the skill is, but I'm a mage, can I equip that skill?
You cannot equip that skill, but you could sell it. So it's an NFT. So you can go on OpenSea and put it up for sale, or you could send it to the mage class that you're using, right? Someone might have an additional Genesis hero or Rift hero in their wallet that they're also questing with. Send it to the mage so that the mage can learn the skill. But to answer your question, to summarize that, skills are class specific, and you cannot learn a skill for which you are not the class. Now, I will say, someone made a really good idea in Gen Chat the other day, which is, what about like multi-classes or subclasses? And I think that's like a really interesting idea and one we might explore. But as of launch, you get 1 class and skills are very class determined.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, as Matez just said here in chat, we might be giving people heart attacks from the level of alpha we just dropped on skills here. So we'll tone it down a bit. I don't know if chat can handle everything that's going on right now, but
great multi-class idea.
There we go. All right. So again, appreciate that level of detail. And I think, to summarize for the folks who are watching right now, this is not This is not, hey, I'm just clicking attack and then the monster rolls and I roll, and then I click attack and the monster rolls and I roll, and that's it. There's a lot of depth involved here, a lot of strategy, a lot of decision making, and hopefully you make the right decisions and show up and do well. So thanks for that detail. Okay, maybe let's hit one more here. Mladenov. Like Milady.
Yeah,
Tip your story here.
Mladenov, which is a classic name and one I'm very familiar with. We asked this question about, and again, I guess that's a good point that we didn't talk about. That's another decision. So when you level up, okay, Gatrino's going to have his work cut out summarizing this, but when you level up, and this is in the game docs, the way leveling up works is if you're a mage, wisdom is your primary attribute because you're a mage, and wisdom makes you do more damage. So every time you level up, we automatically give you wisdom. Wisdom's your best attribute. But then you have other attributes you can prioritize, like charisma, like quickness, or maybe some secondary attributes like strength or agility, which aren't as important for a mage, but still might be helpful. And so then you automatically get your primary attribute, and then you're allowed to allocate secondary points into things that aren't your primary attribute. So when you level up as a mage, I give you wisdom immediately. The game gives you wisdom. And then the game's like, hey, here's an extra 3 points. Decide what you want to do with them.
Got it. Great question. Yes, it is almost like we have actual gameplay, which will be exciting. All right. Well, let's move on here real quick to another question. Let me see here. Okay. I'm going to skip here to another question here. Sandwich Punch, right? Web3 is all a question here. Web3 is all about decentralization. How are you going to be achieving that? And that's kind of a big question. So maybe there's different parts to what that question means by decentralization.
Yeah. So again, this comes back a lot to like our core thesis and what we are, what we aren't, what we want to be, what we don't want to be. And I think if you look at, there's like a sliding scale of decentralization, right? You could slide it all the way to like max decentralization, but which has a lot of benefits, but it has its drawbacks. Drawbacks like literally every single thing you do is going to have to be approved through a contract. It's less fluid. Web2 crowd is probably going to come into that and have a lot of friction trying to like get into that. That's very, very, very foreign to traditional gamers, Web2 gamers, like the thought of approving every transaction. It also means less dynamic gameplay in a lot of senses because it's hard to have super dynamic gameplay when everything has to be all the game logic has to be in a smart contract. So
Yep.
Right, I'm just kind of breaking out like the sliding scale here of decentralization and complete centralization. And
Can I
so
pause you for a second? Could you
Yeah.
refocus your cam there? Looks like it's a little bit.
I always get out of focus here.
Katrina really wants to see you in high fidelity.
Let me try this here real quick. A little reset.
Camera can't focus while it's looking at Sandwich Punch. That sounds accurate.
Gosh. Yeah,
It's all good.
All right, I'll try to get it back in focus here. But
so you're saying there's lots of different aspects to decentralization. On the one side where things are fully decentralized, things work by committee, things work by contract, and they're not very smooth. That's
if you were to take it to the extreme, right? The extreme where every single aspect of the protocol is decentralized. I mean, that has benefits and it has cons. So one thing that I think that we've discussed a lot is some projects maybe jump too deep into the decentralization too early. And what that leads to is difficulty in getting and bootstrapping the gameplay to the part where it can really be adopted by the masses and by people that aren't just super tech savvy, people that know how to run everything through a MetaMask and approve every single transaction and approval limits. And, it's just, there's friction there. And so, yes, there are substantive aspects of the game that will be centralized, substantive portions of the game logic that will be on our backend servers. And over time, those things can be decentralized, whether that's through setting up DAOs or wallets and trusts that can maintain a public API for X amount of years or whatever it is, or there's possibilities to restructure contracts and make things decentralized over time. And that is going to be our approach, rather than jumping full in. Every single aspect is 100% decentralized, because we're not trying to compete in that realm.
Got it. So basically, the to summarize what you said, decentralization is still a focus and still a goal, but it's not something that we're going to jump into prematurely, right? Does that sound pretty accurate?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
right.
No, and I think, even asking, Baby Punch here, like, how many decisions are made every day by the members of the team? Like,
by the Dragons Crossing team.
Yeah. Like, are we continuing to make decisions every day, or are we like, no, we make one decision a day and we're good?
No. There's a constant stream of decisions made.
Yeah. I mean, and Bloater Punch, I'm sure, would tell you that with the dev team, right? So, from that perspective, again, decentralization is important, but at this phase, it would probably lead to us not actually developing anything, right? Because there would sort of be that paralysis by committee, if you will. So good, awesome. Okay, so it sounds like that gives us a little bit of an idea in terms of the overall philosophy where we're at, from a centralization versus decentralization perspective. So one of the things you touched on, which I actually really liked that you mentioned, is, and it sounds like one of the benefits of doing it this way, of not decentralizing too early, is that it reduces those barriers to entry for new players, right? Basically, a new player just needs to know how to purchase an NFT and play a video game, right? It's, there'll be some MetaMask transactions, but at its core, they can do those things. They're going to be able to participate in the game here. So Bloater, let me ask you this. Keeping that in mind, how are you going to attract more people to this Web3 project who aren't as savvy, and total degens like maybe everyone on this call?
Yeah, so one major thing is, like, we have actual gameplay at launch. So the longer I've been in the space, the more I believe that's unique. It's compelling. There's a beginning, middle, and end. There is content, polished content at launch. And it's not like, well, zone 1 is ready, but zone 2 through 5, you'll have to wait for or pay for. It's all there. It's ready to go. So bringing actual gameplay at launch appeals, I believe, to Web2 gamers who expect that, right? That's kind of a Web3 phenomenon that we don't have that. It's not a single staking. It's not a DeFi play. It's a game play. And again, we've intentionally limited some blockchain touch points because we view them as kind of overboard, unnecessary, and, creates additional friction. So, one other note, by the way, in how we market to Web2 and hopefully get additional players and just cater to Web3 players in general, is it's optimized for mobile. So whether you're on a desktop or mobile device, the game should play relatively smoothly. You'll be able to interact. I know, again, I've said this before, but Deltoid Punch has spent a lot of time making sure every screen is optimized for multiple sizes. And so depending on whether you're on like a little mobile device or you're on a desktop, I hate playing anything on my mobile, so I'm always on desktop, but I feel like I'm the minority. Mm-hmm. So I think those are some reasons. Actual gameplay, optimized for mobile, limited but meaningful blockchain touch points are reasons why I think we will appeal to a much broader audience.
Got it. Okay. So again, we have a game. We have something to offer to the folks who aren't, thinking about huge APRs and different things, who are actually looking for a Web3 game. So that's exciting. Along those lines, we've had this question a few times. Let's put this bad boy to bed here. Can we expect to, and I'll ask you this, Bloater, can we expect the ability to automate gameplay?
So when you say automate, it makes me think of bots. So I'll address that and we can clarify. So one reason you automate gameplay is because you don't want to do it, right? So I don't know of anyone who's creating a bot to play Elden Ring, for example. because the whole point of Elden Ring is to play it. So why would you make a bot do that? And I think what we're hoping and what we believe we've created is a meaningful gameplay experience that people will enjoy. So that's one side of it. The other side of it is, are there potential rewards? Is there reason to, there's another side of automation, which is simply, I want to increase my rewards. And so for that side, I think the game is not solved day one, right? So when you come into the game, you have no idea how you're going to play it, what's the best strategies, which strategy works, how should you play certain classes, how should you itemize, how risky you should be. So I think it would be very difficult to use bots to begin with. And we will actively disincentivize botting just because our whole emphasis is on players participating in the ecosystem in an organic and meaningful way. We didn't make this and go through all this trouble to, cater to bots. So
yeah,
I don't have great feelings towards that. And again, I think we failed our mission if everyone wants to use a bot. Like we didn't do what we set out to do, if that's the case.
Got it. We wanted to make a fun game. And,
That's right.
Yeah, this again, not a click simulator where you just have to spam attack over and over. I'm guessing if that's your strategy, probably not going to work too well.
Probably won't work.
Yeah, got it. Awesome. All right. Let me throw an easy one at you here from a gameplay perspective. I'm going to dive back into some of the gameplay questions here. Do the same items stack in one slot, or is it one item per one slot?
Is that to me? Sorry, I don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
So no item. Here's the reality. Like if you found 10 of the same sword, it's kind of like a Borderlands item system in that each of those swords are different. And so it wouldn't make sense to stack them anyway. And then on top of that, your inventory is considered a resource. So you only have so many slots in your inventory before it becomes exhausted. So I think both of those are reasons why we don't want there to be stacking. Now, the only case I could see was maybe for consumables, but we really don't have consumables day of launch. But even like a shard, a summoning shard to bring a new Rift hero, those are the same. We don't let those stack. So to answer your question, nothing stacks, including summoning shards or skill books.
Got it. Okay. So hashtag no stacking, hashtag don't die. All right.
That's right.
Got it. Yeah, Gatrino, I think you just hit this. Summoning shards will not stack. Okay. How about this? There's a question here, and maybe I can kick this over to you, Sandwich Punch here. Is it going to be possible to compete for the or Bloater Punch? Sorry, is it going to be possible to compete for? There's different rarities. So I saw a question in the town hall questions of, is it going to be possible if I pull a rare hero, keeping in mind that that's the lowest rarity for a Genesis hero? If I pull a rare hero and someone else pulls a mythic, am I going to have any chance to compete in the ladder, right? Because we've talked about that being one of the key mechanisms here is kind of ladder gameplay where you're competing against other players. Am I going to have a shot, or am I just going to say, screw it, it's not even worth trying?
So that's a great question. So the fundamental premise of the game is it doesn't matter if you've shown up 4 months into the game launch, and it doesn't matter if you have a mythic hero or a common hero. None of that will affect your ability to succeed and earn rewards or have the opportunity to earn rewards. So if you have a mythic hero, you will receive benefits, but those benefits will not extend themselves to you being better or more competitive than your peers, if that makes sense. So there will be benefits, but it won't help you be better at the game.
Got it. Can you, is there an example of what that benefit would be?
Yeah. So right now, what we're thinking is, and what I believe we will launch with, is that if you have a mythic hero, you have a better chance of finding NFT items. And right now, NFT items are summoning shards and skill books. And if you are a common, you can still find those things, assuming you're a Genesis hero. And if you're a Rift hero, you can still find those things, just not summoning shards. But you will find them in greater abundance or have a greater chance if you are a higher rarity.
Got it. Okay. So
there may be, and I would also throw out, there may be additional benefits that extend themselves to rarer heroes. But at launch, I'm saying you have a higher chance of finding NFT items.
Got it. Okay. So there will be benefits, but not necessarily pay to win benefits.
So in other words, if you show up and you go, man, I really want to be competitive this season, buying a mythic hero does not do that for you. And that's because I hate that. Doesn't that feel really bad if you show up and someone's really wealthy and so they buy like 5 mythic heroes and you're like, wait, I've been here since day one. Why am I screwed because I got unlucky? And so the point is we are doing everything we can to shy away from pay to win mechanics. And really, you've just got to learn the game and play smart. And if you do those things, you increase your odds for opportunity.
Fantastic. I'll get to this question from Rebel Scum in just a second. I want to follow onto that question with a question for you here, Sandwich Punch, which is basically the whole mentality. What I just heard was just because you got in early doesn't mean you're going to have. This is what Bloater Punch just said. Just because you got in early doesn't mean you're going to have an advantage. Pay to win advantage or time to win. Hey, I got in first, so I'm going to beat everybody else, right? Similarly, when it comes to other projects with big, APRs, right? Where it's like, hey, if you got in first, you have the advantage, but if you get in later, you don't. How does that play into sort of the overall sustainability from a tokenomics perspective, given that just because you got in doesn't mean you're going to have an advantage over a player that joins later?
So I guess in what sense, or how do you like, in what angle do we like, are we talking here?
Yeah, no, I think the question is how does that enable us to have sustainable tokenomics?
So most projects, and again, the emphasis is always on gameplay, but what people sometimes gloss over or don't really appreciate is that if there are not sustainable tokenomics, number one, the project won't be around that long. And number two, anyone who shows up past day 1 or day 10 is kind of hosed. And so we're really focused on establishing a sustainable, actual kind of running Dragon's Crossing like a business where there's winners, there's losers, there's upsides, there's downsides. We're not doing 40,000% APR yield farms because those lead to Ponzi-nomic situations. So all of that to say is everything we do is we always ask this question, like, is that sustainable? Is that what's best for the player? Will people enjoy that? Is it fair? So having heroes, being able to pay for a hero that does better, to me, doesn't feel fair. Giving someone an advantage with more money doesn't feel fair. So we're trying to move away from anything that would give the appearance of allowing someone to pay and buy in to do better during seasonal play.
Got it. Okay. So based on what I'm hearing from you is that we will be able to attract new players down the road.
That's right.
Because they're not going to feel like they got left out because they didn't get in first. Now, certainly if you get in first, there's going to be some great benefits of minting a Genesis hero and things along those lines. But for someone who's playing the game and wanting to compete with the game, you join day 120 versus you join day 1. We're going to be able to track that player on day 120 because they're on a level playing field.
Yeah, if you're someone who bought a Genesis hero, it's in your best interest to not have early advantage outside of holding a Genesis hero, because to your point, no one wants to come in day 120 in that point or day 200. But we're saying no, anyone who shows up at any time can always be just as competitive as someone who is here day 1, assuming they know the mechanics, assuming they understand the game, assuming they're willing to play and learn. Yes.
Got it. Awesome. That's exciting. Let me get to this question. Sorry, you've been waiting a bit, Rebel Scum. Interesting. So if your inventory is full and you find a better weapon, can you destroy the weapon in your inventory to make space?
You Rebel Scum. Great quote. And the answer is yes. So you can destroy items. And I'm contemplating trying to get a feature into the game before launch, which is called the Smelter. So right now, if you have a bunch of items, you can destroy them. But what I would like to do is give you back quests for, let's say you gave the blacksmith 5 items and he would give you like a quest or 2 back. So smelting your excess items down for quests. But at the very least, you will be able to free up inventory space by destroying items.
Awesome. Fantastic. Can we trade Skillbook NFTs? This is Be Easy, who was number 2 in the chat, maybe even number 1, in fact. Can we trade Skillbook NFTs with other players?
Anything that's an NFT will be enabled through OpenSea. So the answer is yes. So you can send them just like normal NFTs to any other wallet, or you can sell them on something like an OpenSea or wherever we end up launching, whatever NFT marketplace is the most prominent on the chain we launch, that you will be able to sell them there.
Fantastic. Okay. All right, let me ask another one. I really appreciate you guys diving deep into the mechanics here. I think people are excited to see the gameplay level of detail that we've got here. The level of detailed gameplay. Sorry, I said that totally wrong. I'm going to ask one last question here. Do you expect to have to make balance changes or skill changes or item changes after game launch? And if yes, what approach will you use? I'm not sure with that question. Let me ask that first question. The first question: are you going to make balance changes?
It's a three-pronged question.
Yeah. First question here: are we going to make balance changes to the game after launch?
So, I mean, I feel like it would be supremely arrogant to assume that we designed a perfectly balanced game with no balance requirement changes post-launch. Yep. So, of course, I think we will, because we are not omniscient. So there will be things we didn't anticipate being too strong and vice versa. So we will have to. We're going to try and avoid that, but we will have to.
Got it. Okay. So there will be some balancing. Is your philosophy going to be one of, hey, I just really hate this build, so I'm going to completely nuke it, or taking a lighter approach based on?
I mean, hopefully we take a much lighter-handed approach. Yeah, I don't foresee it being the latter, more the former. Yeah, massaging skills, massaging items, etc.
Got it. Okay. So as a light-handed approach as best we can, and certainly if something's broken, to fix it. But hopefully we can bug test most of that out beforehand, right? Awesome.
Now, by the way, I wanted to say one thing since fleas come up multiple times. So I just want to clarify flea. Flea is based on your quickness. If your flea fails, the monster gets another free shot at you, and then you have to decide if you want to try and flee again or continue fighting. But the reason flee is important is two things. One is sometimes you get too deep and you're like, I really don't want to die right now, so I'm going to try and get out of this because I don't think I can win this fight. That's number one. Number two is sometimes the way I've designed the game, okay, a piece of alpha for Gatrino to document, is there'll sometimes be like a random chonker. And if you're paying attention, you're like, yeah, I don't want to fight this person, right? Like in other words, you're going wrong, you're fighting, you're healing, and then you might encounter a chonker and you're just like, not a good idea. So that flee would be good for a situation like that, where you're just like, this guy's way too strong for me. I'm not going to try and like grind into this. It's not worth it. I'm out. So you gotta beware the chonkers.
Okay. So #flee chonkers. That makes sense, but that's exciting. Again, a level of depth and detail to where this is really a game. Yeah, I saw a comment here from Deuce707, which is like Final Fantasy, basically. Kind of sounds like a similar type of mechanics. Is that a good analogy?
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know about you guys who are watching, but if that's the case, that is pretty exciting if we can get to that level. All right, so. Matez, flea chonkers here. We will have some t-shirts here. Okay, so let me ask the last question, and then we're gonna move on. We've got to get to those giveaways here, but this has been great. So heroes are capped at 11 skills total. Do you have any plans to expand on the scope of that? And have kind of combined classes, is that a possibility?
Yeah, again, we could go hamskis with the amount of ideas, and there's so many things we could add. But at the end of the day, the question is, can we get more eyeballs on the project? Can we get people excited about it? Can we get the Genesis heroes minted? Can we establish a stable game? Can we make it competitive? Can we make it sustainable tokenomics? These are the core questions. And so we're launching with what I believe is the minimal viable offering, where people are like, this is fun, this is exciting, I can have fun doing this, I have an opportunity to earn. And then once we get past that immediate launch barrier, like, did we launch, was it successful, then we have so much upside to add all of these cool features things. And again, the architecture's in place, right? So the biggest cost was up front, designing the game, designing the architecture. Now that we've done that, adding additional content will be, I believe, significantly easier with less friction involved. So at the end of the day, to me, I'm focused on successful launch. Once we accomplish that, then my focus will go to how can we begin building out some of these other cool features that I think would be pretty low-hanging fruit.
Fantastic. So stay tuned, guys. Even if you join and you mint day one, you can expect a lot more down the road. It's going to be pretty exciting. All right. Well, thank you from the Punches. And yes, we did coordinate so that everyone with the name of Punch wore a hat, and those who don't get to wear hats. So someday. But thanks again for joining. Let's move on real quick. And for all that alpha we just dropped here, I hope everyone in the chat is just as excited as I am to learn more about that. Let's move on real quick to our giveaways here. So we had people spamming DCX in the chat. We had 36 DCXs. 37. Hold on. Let's give them 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Click draw. Let's see who won. Oh, snap.
Wait, Sandwich Punch was in there.
Oh, Sandwich Punch. I better not be Sandwich.
Rug confirmed.
Oh, all right. We've got Juan FZ as the winner of our hashtag DCX giveaway here. So you will be contacted with some details on claiming your whitelist spot. So congrats, Juan. Hopefully you're still in the chat here. And you know what? That's not all. We've got another giveaway we got to get to here. So Bloater, he loves trivia, or so I've heard. So the second whitelist spot, if you missed out on that one, you've got another shot here. Let's hear some trivia from Bloater. First to answer.
We're going to do this differently. I can't. So number one, to do the trivia, you have to respond with the correct answer in chat with your Discord ID. Does that make sense? Okay. I don't know how to get you the whitelist unless you respond with the answer. Katrino, it's not Aladdin, and you're not allowed to answer anyway because you're a mod. But you have to answer with your Discord ID and the name of the film. Okay. But give me 1 second. I'm going to go get my wife because she knows the quote. I can't remember the quote. Give me 1 second.
Oh, snap. This is going to be legitimate. We're going to get Mrs. Bloater Punch here.
Where is she?
Honey.
Mom, meatloaf.
Mom.
Okay, she's gone. Just kidding. She's gone.
Okay.
Okay, here it is. I'm going to try to do my best, okay? And this isn't exact quote, but again, you'll get the gist of the film, and whoever answers with the film. So if you give the right film, but you don't give the Discord ID, you can't win. Okay.
Okay.
So, and we're not going to call the winner prematurely until we've really reviewed the responses, so no one gets host.
Okay.
Type in your Discord. Just have
type in your Discord.
Type
ID
in the
now,
Discord.
So when you type the answer, boom. Oh, by the way, before I get to that, Starbuck just called out that they have a Dragons Crossing whitelist giveaway on the Mythic Squad stream tonight. That's at 8:30 p.m. PST. So check that out as well.
Or is it PDT? I think we're daylight here.
Okay, PDT.
All right. What's the quote?
All right.
PTSD.
It's an animated film. Okay. It is an animated film. And the quote is something like do, re, mi, so, do, re, mi. Something like that. It's like do, re, mi, so, re, mi, do.
Nope. Katrina disqualified.
Soul. No, not soul. Good guess, though. Good guess. Musical. So, again, I said animated film, Starbuck. Sound of Music is not animated.
Oh, man. Well, this is a tough one. I have no idea.
This is a goodie. Yeah, you animated film buffs need to go back into the vault here.
Is this show premised around animals?
Maybe.
Okay, I thought so. Just a little hint.
Alpha alert.
Hercules? No, not Hercules. Although
we're going to be here a while.
Satyr.
I'm not gonna lie. I Googled here and I'm not seeing it yet.
And I'm kind of glad. See, I think this is the best kind, the kind you can't Google. You just got to know your stuff. And apparently, Baby Punch knew it because he's
I think I know it.
okay.
Did you Google that?
No, I think I know the quote.
All right, Baby Punch. What does the film start with? What letter does it start with?
Does it start with an A?
It does.
Okay, I knew it.
Aladdin.
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 It is Aladdin. Just kidding. It's not Aladdin.
All right, it
Animals.
starts with an A.
Starts
Starts with an A.
Despicable Me. No, that
Great
that doesn't
film, by the
start
way.
with an A.
Great film.
Wow, I have no idea.
This is my best trivia question ever.
Is it though?
It may revolve around household pets.
Household Pets starts with an A. Come on, guys. Slightly racist film.
Anastasia
Okay.
also starts with an A. A cool movie. No, Katrina. Gosh, okay.
It's not ants. Those aren't animals or Airbud.
Airbud.
We're so
Oh, hold on, hold
You
on,
guys
hold
are
on.
like
I
shooting
see it. I
around
see
the
it.
film.
I see it.
Okay,
Right there.
Richard Kimball. Richard Kimball. I believe we have a winner. It is Aristocrats. In the film, they're in a little parlor, and the mama cat makes the baby cat play her do re mi so, or whatever it's called. So, dude,
Congrats.
Eminem, you were right there. You were right there, but I think Richard Kimball was there first. Richard Kimball, congrats. I will be assuming that is your Discord ID, although that doesn't look like a valid Discord ID. I will send you, we will try and get a hold of you. And yeah, I'm okay with, as long as I could kind of get it, but I hope that's your valid Discord ID. All right. Well, that was, that's all.
Awesome.
The doozy.
Exciting. Thanks for the giveaway. Thanks for engaging everybody. Yeah, again, that's a wrap on our fourth town hall here. Thanks for joining. We'll be again releasing these recordings, key parts on our of our town hall on our YouTube and Twitter, and add some links in the Discord. So every week we're getting closer to May, so keep following our socials so you stay up to date, and we'll see you again next week. Oh, Sam, you got something?
Yeah, just a quick plug. Make sure you're following the Medium page.
Oh yeah.
Katrina has been doing awesome summaries for those that don't necessarily want to go back and watch an hour, which you should go back and watch it. There's a lot of alpha drop, but Gat's going to have a pretty sweet summary like he has with all the other ones. So make sure you give that Medium page a follow as well.
Fantastic. And that'll be linked on our website as well if you're going to check that out. So, all right. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.